Hi and welcome once again to Marty's Classic Cars. Martin Clapton here, obviously. Do another video on the Saab. Taking a bit of a warm up. Going to do the oil again. I've been changing it about twice a year. I was only doing 2,000 miles when the car was just used for a high days and holidays thing, you know, having a company car and so on. But I've had to extend the mileage on my insurance through Footman James. I've been using the car more regularly now, not having the company car. I don't use it each and every day, and I only do very small mileages really, compared to a lot of people. But yeah, so this will be the third oil change this year. So I'm going to do a change where I do as I did before my previous videos, take it for a warm up, drain the oil overnight, and also do the cabin filter as well this time, so I'll show you how I do that. And go from there. Okay, hope we're all keeping very well. Let's take it for a quick run. I've been on a drive already today, in as much as I come from Worcester to come home from college, so it's done about 20 odd miles. I've 12 miles there, 12 miles back sort of thing. Anyway, just to make sure she's up to temperature, just take her around the block a bit. I'll drain the oil overnight as I normally do. It's important on these cars to do the oil changes as quickly as you can, more often than not. I recommend using the 530 oil, which I get from the Saab specialist, or the Neo Brothers, or parts for Saabs off the internet, and then go from there really. But yeah, because they had a bit of a reputation years ago. But as long as you keep the car very regularly serviced and so on, it basically it alleviates all that. You just don't get a problem with it. These engines can do very, very high mileages if kept in very good maintenance. One of the things with it was I did notice years ago I had a head gasket done by Westbury Saab in Shrewsbury, and he said that you don't have to torque the head down again, which sort of surprised me, or didn't surprise me so much with modern cars. But he said with the Saab you don't have to do that. I haven't had any problems with it since, so that way. So all well and good, you know. Anyway, just take it for a quick drive. Nice sunny day today. We've had a lot of rain in February, obviously. So it's nice to bit of sunshine. I have to get the hood down sometime too. Probably makes it a few degrees warmer. Getting old now, you know. Yeah. Hey ho, it's what it is. But I've been very impressed with this car really. I keep looking at the internet for Italian cars. I'll be honest, Italian cars were in my veins from when I was a kid years ago, and I kept thinking, I've had so many Italian cars since I've had Italian cars since 1982. I had Alfa Romeos or Fiats, and I would have gone back to them, but I bought this car on a whim, like I said before. And there's so many things. I'm so impressed with it. It's just been a very good car, and when you've got a very good car, sometimes it's hard to turn your back on the car really. You could end up buying something which may be highly desirable for yourself. It's something you've always wanted, but it may not turn out to be a good car in terms of reliability and so on, cause you a load of heartache, you know. Excuse the cough. I'm shaking off a bit of a bug. Don't worry, you won't catch it on the video. So, but yeah, but like I say, it's going back. I remember I had my first Alfa, It was a 1300 GT Junior Bertoni, and it wasn't very reliable at all, to be honest. Like the gasket done and kept arcing on the distributor, damp getting into it and so on. Bit of a nightmare, to be fair, considering I was doing it quite a few miles in the car. It was, at the time, it was dreadful, really. I learned a lesson from that in a way. I think I should have done better maintenance to it, but even so, despite it supposed to be a very good car to start with, I thought to myself, it hasn't been a very good car to me at all, and I would never, anybody with that sort of start off in a car, despite the fact you love them, probably wouldn't have bought another one. They would have said, oh, what's the point? This one's been a reliable problem. I'll go and try something else, try another different car, hopefully get better reliability out of it. But I found that people speak of offers like that. Some cars are better than others for reliability, but a lot of it comes down to really knowing what they're about and so on in their defence. So yeah, but my first car was a terrible car. It drove beautifully when it was working right, but it was just, yeah, very bad. But this car, I didn't plan on buying, and although I've spent, do you want to know the figure, over £10,000 on it, to be honest, in 8 years. A lot of that was the hood, but a lot of that as well is over regular maintenance, like 2-3 services a year. It all mounts up, of course, as it does with cars these days. But yeah, keep treating them like that. Really speaking, I've been so impressed with it, really. So can't grumble. So I'm just going to go up the road here, get bigger temperature up, blow the cobwebs out, and drop the oil this evening. So as soon as I get back, and then you'll join me back in the garage. All right then. So catch you in a bit. So we're back in the garage. What it was, I come from college first, and I drove from Worcester, and had to do a few chores before I commenced work on the car. And it's got to be done. Good man ruined, that's what you're going to tell me. I know, but we got to do it, haven't we, chaps? Yeah, I know. Okay, we'll get on with the oil change then. I should put some plastic underneath the car. So I've got ready there, and get it jacked up, and then be ready to commence the oil change. So I've got a axle stand as well to give it. People nagged me last time I didn't use it. So one of those. But pretty straightforward process. Got the sump plug just down there, 13mm. I'll put a new sump plug on it and a washer each time. Right, it's a two-handed job, so you'll have to bear with me a second if you can, and I'll just let the oil go. The oil's draining out nicely. It's still quite clean. Not quite as clean as I used to be because I've let it go a little bit more in between the changes, but it's certainly not a lot. I've probably only done, I don't know, 1500 miles in it, thereabouts, since the last change. We'll see how that goes. Give it plenty of time to drain overnight. Didn't spill it like I did last time. Went straight into the tray, so that was good. Give her plenty of time now to drain out. I'll drain her overnight, so get a good drain on it. One thing I'm going to do as well is do the cabin filter, which I didn't do last time. It's not one of these things you change every service, but what happens with some of these Saab suppliers, when you buy a service kit, you get like the oil filter, your oil and your plugs and your air filter and so on. But the air filter, I've got one of these performance filters in, which doesn't need to be changed, just needs to be cleaned out. And then the other thing is with the pollen filter, you don't usually change that to every 60,000 or something like that. So I've been doing it every year, you know. It seemed pointless buying the whole service kit, although it paid for itself because they usually give you a deal by buying it as a service kit, including the fuel filter and a pollen filter with it. So if you got it, I suppose you might as well use it. But normally you wouldn't have to change them to every 60,000. Same with the fuel filter. But I've been changing mine quite regularly, you know. In fact, I've only had I had the car for 8 years. I bought it with 96,000 miles on, thereabouts, 94,000 miles. I've done 113 now. So I've done less than 20,000 miles. And I've lost count number of services and oil changes I've done on it. 2 a year for the most years, for most years. And then this year it's going to be 3 times. And I've already done 5,000 miles by May, next MOT. So just getting regular oil changes, which is what you need, isn't it? Good stuff. Good cars, these Saabs, you know. People try to tell you different, they're alright. It's a really, 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 very, very, very good engine. I'm so impressed with this engine. I really, really am. But hey ho, we get on. The pollen filter is actually situated under the panel here. This panel is actually very flimsy for a Saab. I expected it to be a bit more robust, but it isn't. It's just, it comes out quite easily. You just have to take the wipers off, pull the panel out, sort of move the bonnet up and down so you can get access to it better that way. And then when you put it shut, it clicks in a certain way, which I'll show you how that happens. All right. Now, the first thing you want to do with is take these wipers off. You just need I don't believe these nut covers are the genuine ones actually. They are from General Motors, which Saab belonged to at the time. I bought them from a dealer and had them in stock, so I thought, oh, they fitted, they're using, that'll be fine. So that's what I did. There's one there. It's a bit of an awkward cuss to get at actually. Well, for me anyway, because I'm only 5'3". But reaching the thing, that's the thing. And screwdrivers off. I got him off. Caught him just in time. Right. think from memory. I think it's a 13mm again. Yeah. Not on terribly tight, don't need to be obviously. Sometimes. So you just do a bit of ratchet. So keep it. Can reach this one without it. Hope to be taller. We can reach him by hand. There you go. Sometimes it's best to close the bonnet then to open. Get these off. Then you have to get him up again. That one comes off without opening the bonnet. You just take a bit of wiggling with both hands. You have to wriggle them off. Same with that one there. So bear with me a second. Right, so I've took the wipers off. They're only held on by that one nut. So, but what you have to do is just wiggle them like this until they come off. It's easier, I say it's easier said than done. The ergonomics of doing the job aren't the best here because I'm in a cramped garage, so it's reaching across on the car for myself. But what you end up with is just basically this panel here with two seals on. This plastic panel here with two seals on, it's held in by, so it slides under there, and this one seal here. There's not a lot to it, and it's well, for a Saab, it's a little bit flimsy, so there's a bit of the old General Motors stuff creeping in there. But either way, it works. It's fine. So what to do then? Just take this one seam off like so, and it exposes this. This has got some clips on, which slots over. It just basically pulls out. It's a good idea to have a look under here from time to time, just to make sure it's all dry and solid there. There's no cracks and so on. One thing that affects these cars is the bulkhead sort of thing, but generally she's been very good since I've had the job done. And the other thing is, you just tend to get leaves, and that when I first had the car, I had to get a load of leaves out. It was dry, but just a load of leaves were in there. So it's a good thing to inspect from time to time when you put your filter in. See if I can get this out with one hand actually. It's easier said than done. There is some side ones to get off as well. There it is. That's it. Nice and easy. Now, because you got the you get him off. You don't have to take him off completely. You get him off and just turn him round on the bonnet. This comes out like so. That reveals all your wiper mechanism and stuff like that. Once you turn that out the way, put him to one side, then there's his bottom plate to come out. Like so, which is quite straightforward. That reveals your mechanism underneath there. Wash everything. Let's come off. This one's probably come for wash. That's it. It's all pretty dry underneath, which is good. Your cabin filter, as you'll see, is just under there. Look. Looks a bit grubby, so I haven't done him for a while, so I'll put a new one in. This is how your new filter looks. Now, when you put him in, there's a tab. This tab here. You'll see there, and that goes into a specific place in the holder. Then when you put him in, you just drop him in. You slide him in like so under the wiper mechanism, and then what you do, you have to hear like a click, and that's when it's in properly. When it clicks in, you know you've got it right then. Okay. There's a guy on the, in America who used to service these himself, and Saab Tech I think he was called. He had a YouTube channel, and I took his advice when I fitted it the first time. He was absolutely spot on, he was, so thanks to him. I often wonder if he's still got his cock. It was an old video, but yeah, so there it is. Easy to get to. Could do with a bit of a clean out under there, I think. Might get round to doing that now before I put the new one in and go from there. Okay, so let's take the old one out first and see where we are. I've got one or two leaves here, not many though. You didn't click out there. Clicks out that way, it slides out on the, well, on the left hand side of the car. Go out the other side, that's it. And slide them out from the other side. There you go. Pretty some better days. You see where that tab is there. Only fits in one way. So that's on the top left hand side there as you put it in under the car. So put the new one in the same way. You can't go wrong. It's straightforward, really simple job. Simple job. Put that one in that box there in a second. Get the way. So what I'll do first, a bit of a clean under there, I think. It's all sound and that looks dry, which is good. There's no moisture getting under there. You got to be careful sometimes with these bulkheads on these cars. Some of these cars have what is that down there, that rubber tubing in the centre there, is where if you get pools of water running off your car down the windscreen into your underneath your panel, you've got an extraction thing in the middle, so make sure it doesn't get bunged up with leaves and so on. It's all clean, that one looks okay. On the Jaguar XJ40s, what's called the duck bill, same sort of thing. They used to bung up a lot, and what you do, you used to pump them with your hands like that and you get a load of water coming out. And they were a car, despite the fact they're one of the safest cars made in their day. The Jaguars XJ40 was a very, very good car. But the later ones suffered more in the bulkhead than the early cars. The best cars to have are either the 3.6 or the very first 3.2 and 4 litres up to about 1991, because they had a stronger bulkhead. And you can tell which is the best bulkhead to have because the battery is in the engine bay. So if you buy an XJ40, get one with the battery in the engine bay. They got the better bulkhead, the better, stronger car than the later one. When they had to adapt the whole car inside, the inner wings and so on, to fit the Jaguar V12, which the story goes, obviously they wanted to make the engine bay originally so it wouldn't fit the Rover V8, so they didn't want it. They want Jaguar's own engines. But when they thought, hang on, we're going to miss out on the V12 market, so they redo the engine bay again. That's when it put a new bulkhead in, but it wasn't so strong, believe you me, as the first one. The first one is a nicer car to have, in a way. So yeah, a bit of advice for you on somebody else's, on another mate. Yeah, I was going to buy an XJ40 many years ago. I did a lot of research into the car, and they suffer from their bulkheads, and as just the X300 as well afterwards. So it's a good idea to have an inspection done if you don't know yourself, to have all this inspected with the bulkhead with the cars. If it's the early one, you'll find like a rubber suction thing in the bulkhead there, and you just squeeze it a couple of times, you might get a bit of water coming out. I went to look at one once, it was kept outside, not garage. I pressed the duck bill, little rubber suction thing on the bulkhead, and all this water came out, all this dirty water came out of it. I bet that stuck a load of leaves and stuff in there, you know. It was the earlier car, So, but I think it needed a few other things doing to it as well. Some of it major really at the time, so I just came away from it. And after looking at various other cars, I eventually got this. So that's basically what's happened there. But I do like the Jaguars, the older ones anyway. I do like the new ones. And they made a mess of Jaguar's reputation now with advertising. Oh dear me, that's not Jaguar, is it? I mean, everybody you speak to, it's not a Jaguar, that. Not in a million years. You know, they for the sake of jobs and things, they keep the brand going and reputation of the car. But they got some major work to do to get the enthusiasts back involved again, buying the cars. And people who are just executives who aren't too bothered, you know, about the background and that sort of thing, still buy the cars. But you know, yeah, that's a right fiasco. I remember taking to my granddaughter horse riding once, and this little old lady said to me, she's quite a nice lady, very well spoken, and so I presume she must have had Jaguars years ago. She popped at the blue and she said, "You're into cars, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm into cars, yeah." She said, "They made a mess with the Jaguar advertising. That's terrible, isn't it?" God, looking at her, I didn't expect her to come up with anything like that, but she was eggs or eggs, she did. I said, "Yeah, it's dreadful, dreadful." But everybody's been speaking about it, haven't they? But it's hope for the sake of jobs and keeping jobs in the country and that, and when these things, you know, take effect and that, it isn't just the jobs directly in the factory, it's the ongoing thing as well, the suppliers and the caterers and everything. You can, you know, I was on the back end of that myself because I was in the motor industry. When Rover went down, I mean, Longbridge was a sorry sight after that. Yeah, I got it just in time, so there you go. I used to work for a supplier to them. To put a bit of background on it, as we did supply Jaguar and Toyota and Honda as well. Yeah, okie doke. Well, I'll get on cleaning with this then and see if, and I'll drain the oil overnight. What you'll do, you'll join me tomorrow morning, and what I'll do, I'll get the plugs, recap the plugs up, so I'll just put them first thing in the morning. I've got to get the service finished for tomorrow. I'll take the other half to an appointment in the afternoon, but I always drain her overnight anyway, so I time it for when we not needing the car first thing in the morning. Okay, so bear me a second and I'll get it cleaned out and I'll show you how to put the cabin filter back in. On goes again. Just a quick wipe round. Look at the difference that's made. Just inside, in there, just a damp cloth. That's all it was. A lot of dust in there and so on. Just had a quick wipe round without going to town on it. So it all looks sound under there, doesn't it? Lovely. It's not concours, obviously. I mean, if I wanted to go to town, I would take the wiper arm off and one thing or another. But I've never really been into the concours thing. I have, in a way. I appreciate the work that goes into it, but I've seen concours cars, engines fall out, if you get what I mean, and get smashed up, get recommended on a concours for just a few months before, and that happened in Ferrari circles of all things. So it isn't the be all and end all, but people think it is. What is right is your compressions are right, your car's right, tracking's right, steer's right, brakes straight, engine strong, that sort of thing. The basics really. And just keep it best maintained you possibly can and use the car. That is the other thing with these, a lot of these cars, they cause damage to themselves by being stored as a monument, as a museum piece. Cars are meant to be used. I can't go iterate this enough. More and more people are coming round to that chain of thought now and using the cars more regularly, which I'm pleased to hear. But at one time we had all these trailer queens and everything, which looked glorious and everything else, but no. Yeah. Okay, but I'm quite pleased with that actually. I just had a quick wipe round just with a damp rack and cleaned all the most of the dust out and that. It looks quite sound under there, quite pleased. I haven't looked under there for a while. So that's all pretty good. Consider it's an area which people don't look at very much. Hey ho. Right then, let's get this filter in for us. Excuse the coughing again. Put that on there. It might just give me some light to do the job. Now here's a new filter. If I remember that tab which I was talking about, that one there, that goes on the front of the holding, just at the one side, and it should click in. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. There's a bit of a knack to it, I must confess. And that tab goes over that screw hole there. Slide in. There you go, with the click. Excuse me, with my cough again. Basically it goes in, just slide him in, make sure he's in all the way around. Just, that's it, job done. And you just put the rest of the gubbins back basically. Right, as I'm feeling in a slightly blingy mood, because I've seen my bulkhead clean up nicely, I'm just going to use a bit of pledge on the old plastics here. Best thing for plastics, brings them up a treat. It's too nice to go in the engine bay, but there you go. A rag on it, some kind. I'll do this for 2 ounces. There you go, smart, isn't it? So we need nice and clean. Now this one is case. In there, let's get the other one out of the way. They're rather flimsy considering you think Saabs are sort of built like tanks and so on. It was modern engineering that was getting into the day, I'm afraid. This will give me another 200 job again, so I'll have to excuse me a minute. There you see, it just goes over the the wiper arm mounting in the front there. He nestles up against here quite tightly for the clips to go over when you put the other one back on. Now the top panel, what it does is slides under this back ridge here, and you have to make sure he's seated over centrally over the wiper mounts, and then he should just clip in. There is a snack to it, it's not terribly difficult, but make sure he's tucked up went inside this top ridge. Obviously, if you don't get no rainwater getting in there, to weatherproof your car. Then he just clips in there, holds on tight. Feels more sturdy once it's clipped in position than it is outside it, I must admit. So I suppose that does the job. As I say, just make sure he's clipped on this back ridge here, and he just clips in there. Sorry you didn't see everything, it's a bit awkward. It's more awkward than, especially being inside the single garage here, can't get around both sides of the car. Would have been far more demonstrative if I did it outside, but I wanted to get it done tonight, so I've got lesser jobs to do in the morning. Hey ho. Okay, the last thing not least, obviously put your seal back on, and that just goes on like so. This also gives it more security for the panel. And when I do that, I'll jack the car up again, so oil can drain, which is still doing at the moment. Also do this. So it's not rocket science. The thing with these Saabs is that later on they started to get a bit more complicated. The plastics were a bit more flimsy inside. I think these are nicer cars actually, although they say that the later car was a better floor pan for having a convertible, didn't suffer the problems that these did, which is obviously a major one, saying that. But I still think this is a nicer car. That's just me. Okay, well basically I've got the oil drains, disconnected the battery, and put the plugs in tomorrow. I'll let the lifted the oil cap out there, get some bit of air down the car and see if we can drain as much oil out as we can overnight, and then put the plugs in, oil filter on tomorrow, and Bob's your uncle. I'll be good to go. Put the plugs in, as I say, another one done. Okay then, well, thank you very much for joining me, and you'll join me again tomorrow morning when I just do the last few jobs before I take it back out. Right, have a good evening.
Hi Tim.
Hello, it's Marty from Marty's Classic Cars again, just finishing off the Saab. Got Joe doing the camera work, so a bit organised today. Just a quick look. Got the things organised here. New sump plug with cabinet. I've already put the PTFE tape round it. New filter and 4 new plugs to put in. And I've already gapped the plugs at 1mm. Don't believe that they come directly from the manufacturers as being preset. They do vary a little bit even when you get a pack of 4. So check each one with a feeler gauge, and just to make sure that it's the right specification and so on. And that's basically it really. So I'll pass the camera to Joe, and we can just pass me through to this, and then we go from there, get it all sorted out the way. Okay then, so I'm going to get my aging body down here. The oil from the oil filter. Right, I'll put this in by hand first, just screw them in, then do them up tight. The PTFE tape around it. It's a good idea to put that on, because what it does gives it an extra bit of seal. And make sure you get a new gasket copper washer with it as well. You just go inside. You put a smear, a bit of oil around it, and drop some oil in there to prime it. So what you see I've done here, filters on there, just put them on by hand, screw them on by hand, use both hands to make sure it's really tight, but just hand tight only, nothing else. Okay, so that should be okay there. The next job is to put the plugs in. I've disconnected the battery anyway, so you take out the direct ignition cassette, DIC as they call it. Loosen these off first, 4 10mm nuts. I think first these are not the originals. I've seen Saabs with them, what looks like the original on them. Getting quite loose. Doing by hand. Got 4 plugs there already, like I said. Now on the back here there's a plug which you will see you have to pull the red bracket off here to let him through. It doesn't just pull off. Got a bracket there, a safety cap to pull out. It's a red one. I get a screwdriver. Probably get a bit of purchase on it. Just lever him out like so. That one there. That way. That just pulls off. So there's your bracket you pull out first, and when you push him back on again, you slide him back in to lock him. Obviously Saab were very over-engineered again too, which is a nice thought these days, to make sure it's then it's a matter of loosening this off. It's a two-handed job again, so Joe's disappeared. One thing they do say, when you take it off, try and keep it upright like that. but the core packs pointing downwards. I don't know why that is, but both the Saab and the Hounds manual suggest the same. So it's obviously for a reason. I presume it's so it doesn't do something or other. But try and rest it somewhere with the core packs either on the car or away from the car, but with the core packs pointing downwards when you do put it to one side for a few moments. Just going to do the plugs inside there. It all looks pretty clean. No debris, which is good. If there's debris there, I would hoover it out, but it seems to be okay. I just put the plugs in with a small plug spanner. This is the most ideal one. There's two sizes of plugs. This being a smaller size, I just twist in. You shouldn't over tighten the plugs anyway, just nip them up and do like a quarter turn after that, and that's plenty tight enough. Just to show you the condition of my old plugs, pretty good really. There's a light tip on the end because of the heat and so on the turbo, but not too bad condition. I always do a bit of copper slip around them. I'm going to put them in, which bit of copper slip grease around them, just around the threads, and then feed them in that way, and then we'll do it all back up again. Bob's your uncle. All the plugs in nicely. Just turn them in. When it comes to a tight, do another half turn, and that should be plenty. Now what I've done, I've put the oil in. I've used Saab for a synthetic 530, as I've always done. It holds about 4 litres, including the oil filter as well. You have to be careful with it because it's a plastic dipstick and it's black, so it's sometimes depends what light you've got. Be very careful how you read it. You don't want to overfill it, nor do you want it underfilled as well. So it's one thing to be careful of. It's a press down screw type, as you can see there. It's plastic, so something to be mindful of and be wary of. It holds about 4 litres, so we'll just start her up now. Let her tick over a bit, let things settle. Just check for a few leaks underneath. Make sure the sump plug's not leaking, and all the oil filter I've put on, everything is all good. It should be. And then we're good to go really. And when it's settled down a bit, come back in an hour's time or so. Make sure everything's settled, and then check the reading again. After yours a chance to spin around the engine, then you find it's true maximum there, true reading. Okay, all for now then. Thank you very much for. Sorry for the photography at times. I was on my own pretty much all the day. Joe was busy and so on. Yeah, looking forward to this new year actually. When I first started the channel, it was a bit of a spur of the moment thing because I was out of work. And the first show I did was the Lynmouth Classic Car Show. It's worth looking up. It's obviously it's weather dependent like it always is these days, but it was beautiful down there. Beautiful. I mean, it was one of the nicest classic car shows. You got exotic cars as well as mainstream cars. And last year, I think on the year before, and presumably this year as well, they have Jodie Kidd, who does the honours, does the judging. What was her favourite car? And she picks a car from the ones on the more standard cars sort of thing, which is like down in Lynmouth. And in Linton up the top, they have the exotic cars like the Ferraris and Aston Martins and so on. But it's all good. It's all good. It's just a lovely show. Everybody was really friendly, you know. It's in June, so I'll let you know near the date, whatever. But you can book it up if you've got. I think if you've got a car to show down there, it's worth getting it booked up really early because it's becoming very popular. Lynmouth is a beautiful place. It's like a Switzerland little Switzerland on the North Devon coast. We've been going there since about 2003. Yeah, I still have taken my son down, and then one or two lads down there as well. Great times. Okay then, sign off for now. Hope you're all well. I'll do another video in the future. I've got some work to do on the Dodge, my late son's Dodge, which you probably may have seen from previous things. So that's got to be coming up. I've got some shock absorbers to put on. I've got to get an exhaust for it. Hopefully I want to get that on the road this year. The bodywork obviously is going to be another matter, because it needs doing. But as long as it runs and works, sort of thing, it'll be fine for the time being. Okay then. Love to you all. Take care. Look after yourselves, and see you next time. Bye.